Well, good morning, everyone, or maybe good afternoon or evening, depending where you're joining us from. My name is Zach. Welcome here to the Launchpad Network and our live launch coverage of New Shepard or NS-20 from Blue Origin, launching today out of West Texas, carrying 6 more Blue Origin astronauts to the edge of space, and we're so glad to have each and every one of you here with us. Blue Origin should be going live here in just a couple of minutes, so we'll be patching them in when they do so. They're running a little bit actually ahead of schedule this morning, originally planning to get started at about 6:20, but now are running a little bit earlier than that, which is always well accepted, and glad to know things are proceeding ahead of schedule. Currently, they were going to give us an update on a targeted T0 once they begin their live stream, but they did roll out the rocket a number of hours ago to the pad. Currently, they're targeting a liftoff time of 8:30 a.m. Central Daylight Time. That's the normal one, but we normally see that fluctuate just a little bit. So with that, that's about 90 minutes from now, but we'll have full live launch coverage of the crew walkouts, the crew drive out, those photos, and then watch them ascend and board their capsule as they prepare for launch. The actual mission, pretty quick, only 10 minutes generally from launch to touchdown, so always some build up there, and it's a Blue Origin mission, which means we know we're in for some holds, folks. So make sure you've got a drink and a breakfast snack, and we'll be here for the long run to see how today's mission goes. But as always, as we get started, let us know in the chat where you're watching from. We'd love to give you a welcome here. If it's your first time here, let us know that in the chat. So glad that you are checking us out here at the Launchpad. It's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space truly is better together, and we're glad to have you here for today's live launch coverage. A exciting kickoff to what could be 9 to 10 launches at minimum in the next 30 days. So it could be a very, very busy next month, and we're excited that New Shepard is kicking it off here today with their first launch of 2022, their 4th ever launch with humans on board, and the 20th overall flight of New Shepard. This is also going to be the 6th reflight of New Shepard 4, which is the booster carrying the crew today. And they're going to be launching, as we said, from Launch Site 1 at Corn Ranch, Texas. If you guys have questions, let us know in the chat. We're glad to take those from you throughout the broadcast. We will be patching in mission control audio as they get underway here, and then we will be answering those questions on and off throughout the broadcast as we count down towards liftoff. Now, it does look like they have gone live here, so we're going to patch them in. And once we hear some audio from Mission Control Blue Origin, we will listen in for an update on how the rocket's performing and the schedule for today. If this is your first time ever watching a New Shepard flight, you're in for a treat. This is one of the ways that you, if you have the money, could go to space pretty much right now. You can head over to their website and click Fly to Space and send in your paperwork to apply to hopefully get on a future mission. I know I have done so as a partial joke, but as partial seriousness. At 100,000 subscribers, we made the joke that we'd go to space, and you guys seem to want to make that happen. So we'll see what happens over the next couple of years. But Blue Origin is one of 2 companies currently flying private civilian astronauts on suborbital missions out of the United States. Lots of people tuning in here. We got Southwest Florida, we got New England, East Texas, Green Bay, Wisconsin. Great to have you all here. Great to see so many regulars in the chat. Aaron, Atheist, Tim. Great to see you all here. Thanks for jumping on. Philippines, Kentucky. Great to have you here. The crew for today's mission was supposed to be a very watched mission with Pete Davidson, but they changed the date, and then he was like, I'm busy. So he wasn't able to join it. So instead, they found a replacement for him, and I think it couldn't have been a better one. Gary Lee, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, is a Blue Origin employee who joined the team in 2004, was one of the first 20 employees, and he has worked on designing New Shepard for 2 decades. So, very excited to see him flying on board. We got Marty Allen, who is the former president and CEO of Party America, a California-based company. He was able to bring the company from rags to riches and now stands as an major American retailer. Flying with him, we have Sharon Hagle, who is the founder of Space Kids Global and has been a very active in the aviation and aerospace industry, working in STEM. We also have Marc Hagle. We also have Jim Kitchen. Super excited to see Jim on board. He was one of the New Shepard competitors. He has visited all 193 UN countries. And we have Dr. George Nield, I'm sorry again if I'm saying that wrong, the president of the Commercial Space Technologies LLC, and former associate administrator for the FAA for 15 years. So lots of people, interesting people on board here today. 6 civilians going up to the edge of space. Take a moment, engage that like button. It really does help us out. Don't forget to share out the broadcast as well. Let other people know that they can join in the chat. We're here to answer questions. So if you have those, send those in the chat. Tag us at the Launchpad, and we will be answering those throughout the countdown and through the inevitable hold periods that we are expecting to see. You can see a intro video going live here showing Jeff Bezos, Will Shatner, and lots of other people that have gone up. And we'll be listening in to Blue Origin Mission Control in just a moment for an update on how New Shepard 20 is proceeding in the countdown towards today's liftoff. You're just on time, Ty. Also, if you guys haven't yet, take a moment, head on over to our shop, use promo code LAUNCHDAY, get 10% off everything in the shop. And if you want, head on over to Discord. I'm hanging out in live comms. And when we're not on air here and we're listening into Blue Origin, you can jump on over there and ask questions as well. You can see some of the technologies they're working on with dreams of going back to the moon. Let's listen in to Blue Origin Mission Control. Stay with us for full live launch coverage of New Shepard 20 right here at the Launchpad.
Welcome to Launch Site 1 here in Far West, Texas, where for the second time, we have a full manifest of 6 soon-to-be astronauts. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jackie Cortez.
And howdy, I'm Eddie Seifert. It's an impressive group on the rocket today. Dr. George Nield, Jim Kitchen, Marty Allen, husband and wife Marc and Sharon Hagle, and Blue Origin's very own Gary Lai fly to space today.
And here they are shortly, all suited up for that official team photo, looking amazing in their flight suits. We'll take a much closer look at who's on board later in the show. But while we're talking astronauts, the incredible Wally Funk, who flew on our first human flight, was recently awarded astronaut wings by the FAA alongside the other astronauts from our first 3 crewed flights. I was there to see Wally get her wings in DC. It was such a special day, a huge honor for her to finally achieve this lifelong dream. And she was recently awarded the National Air and Space Museum's 2022 Michael Collins Trophy. This award recognizes outstanding achievements in the fields of aerospace, science, and technology. And if all of those awards weren't enough, Wally was also presented the 2021 Hoover Trophy. This trophy is awarded to aviators who inspire a love of flight in others. All of us at Team Blue are so proud of Wally.
Turning our attention to the day at hand, every flight for New Shepard is another step towards our mission of building a road to space. In 2021, we flew 14 people to space across 3 human flights. This year, we expect to at least triple that number. And how do we get there? With safety at the center. Safety is our highest priority at Blue Origin. It's embedded in every part of the New Shepard vehicle design, its launch operation, our culture. And prior to our first human flight, we went through a rigorous program before being certified to fly humans to space.
That's right, Eddie. And the numbers here speak for themselves. 15 successful test flights completed before first human flight, development of our full envelope crew escape system. which we then successfully tested 3 times. We did a successful test flight with 2 parachutes, so that's 1 parachute out, and of course, demonstration of those redundant landing systems on New Shepard.
Something we've heard time and again from our astronauts is just how moving it is to see Earth from space. It's a reminder that just a few dozen miles of atmosphere, almost nothing, stands between us and the vastness of space. The Earth, our Earth, the one we have, is fragile and must be protected.
And this core value of preserving Earth is foundational to all of our work at Blue Origin. And it goes from the design of our vehicles to how we work with our communities when building, refurbishing, and expanding new facilities. But it's also a longer-term vision focused on utilizing space and its tremendous resources to benefit all of us here on Earth.
And it's an incredibly inspiring mission. One of the earliest technology capabilities we identified to enable this vision was our ability to work with liquid hydrogen. We know there's water on the moon, and one of the main constituents of water is hydrogen. It's why we design with reusability in mind, why our lunar lander is powered by the liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen BE-7 rocket engine, and I'm proud to share some footage with you all from a recent BE-7 test.
As you can see from that video, we never stopped working on lunar technologies here at Blue Origin. This BE-7 test is actually just from earlier this year at NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center. Huge shout out to our Huntsville, Alabama test team.
What an incredible crew.
The moon is critical to Blue's long-term vision, and we're so excited about NASA's recent announcement of the Sustaining Lunar Development Program. Our lunar capabilities like BE-7 are advancing so quickly because they're directly tied to other programs at Blue Origin, like the BE-3 engine flying on New Shepard today.
That's right, Jackie. The BE-3 is also powered by liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen, and because of that, we get to practice critical elements of our future moon landings. Everything that we do today informs all we'll do in the future. It's all connected.
And that next step is today, where we continue to practice our human spaceflight operations. Earlier this morning, our astronauts arrived to the Astronaut Training Center. Here they are in the early hours of the morning here in West Texas, pulling up in those Rivians.
Man, I can't wait to see their smiles. What an adventure in store for them today.
Sharon, Hagle looking excited and ready to go on today's flight.
I don't think I would even need coffee. It was just
Your adrenaline would carry you through.
I think that's right. So moments ago, Sarah Knights, our crew member 7, the crew's trainer and guide through the entire astronaut experience, presented a special challenge coin that will fly with each astronaut to space today. And Jackie, you know the only way to get one is to fly on New Shepard. If you're interested in purchasing a ticket on New Shepard, the first step is to visit blueorigin.com and click on our link, Fly to Space. We'd love to provide you with a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Soon here, we'll see the crew exit the Astronaut Training Center, stand by in their Rivian vehicles, awaiting that official go from Mission Control so the astronaut load process can begin. We'll keep eyes on our crew all the way to the launch tower and into the crew capsule. Coming up just shortly here, our crew will be exiting. Let's stay tuned for that.
And again, good morning, everyone. Welcome here to the launch pad. We are coming down under T-minus 51 minutes and counting until liftoff of New Shepard 20, carrying 6 more Blue Origin astronauts to the edge of space aboard the New Shepard capsule and New Shepard Booster 4 from Corn Ranch, Texas in the United States. We want to hear from you. There's a poll in the chat. How many minutes of holding do you think will occur during today's countdown? We know New Shepard goes into holds periodically to make sure the rocket's safe and the crew is ready, so we want to hear from you. If you're just joining us and have questions, send those in the chat. Take us at the launch pad, and we'll be answering those live in the chat throughout the rest of the countdown. We are expecting at about T-minus 45 minutes the crew to depart the astronaut building there and begin their journey out to the pad. So let's listen back in to Blue Origin Mission Control.
Recently sat down to discuss the power of that organization in our industry. Here's Blue Origin's B4 propulsion test manager, Sophia Porter, and the space gal, Emily Calandrelli.
Emily, it is so great to connect today. Tell me more about your role and the Brooke Owens organization.
My name is Emily Calandrelli. A lot of people on the internet know me as the Space Gal, and I am part of the executive team of the Brooke Owens Fellowship. I want to find some tangible way to make the aerospace industry better and more welcoming for women and other gender minorities. Because when you are a gender minority in a field like aerospace, oftentimes you feel a little bit left out. And so being part of the Brooke Owens Fellowship, you become part of this support community that you can go to for advice or to vent or just to talk about opportunities and strategies for how to navigate your career.
It's really been an honor for me to be a Brooke Owens Fellow as well. It placed me with Blue Origin for my internship, and I absolutely fell in love with this company. I eventually accepted a full-time job at Blue, and I've been here for 3 years.
I hear that over and over and over again from all of these people who win the Brooke Owens Fellowship, and it just changes the trajectory of their career.
I'm curious what you thought about the experience of being at Launch Site 1 during a New Shepard launch.
There's like electricity in the air because you're there with other people who work at Blue, who've worked on the rocket. And so being able to go there and watch it in person was an experience I'll never forget.
It's been so great getting to speak with you, Emily, and I really am personally very grateful for all that you're doing for the fellowship.
And that's what Club for the Future is all about. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you, Emily. And thank you, the Brooke Owens Fellowship, for the difference you're making in our industry. What an inspiration.
Truly inspiring stuff. Shortly here, our crew will receive that official go from Mission Control to begin the astronaut load-in process. That should come at about T-minus 45 minutes. Once they get that go, they'll travel down the road to space to the launch pad. From there, it's getting real. They'll ascend the launch tower, stand by in the safety shelter, cross the gantry and ingress into the crew capsule where Capcom, Kevin Sprague, will be communicating with them from the time the hatch is closed through the entire flight and all the way to crew capsule touchdown.
Kevin's joined today by Laura Stiles. She's a crew member 7 in training, and before joining the CM7 team, she led New Shepard's flight operations team. Some of you may recall she was sitting in my seat here at the desk on the last launch.
That's right, Eddie, you've big shoes to fill.
I couldn't agree more.
I hope you're ready.
Laura's had a stellar career with us. She's been with Blue since 2013, beginning with the new graduate rotation program, and eventually she became one of Blue's first qualified capsule controllers. It's very cool to see her in this position, and I can't wait to see her lead her own mission as crew member 7.
We are cheering on Laura from the desk today. And checking back in on Club for the Future, today's astronaut crew continued our tradition of making their own postcards on behalf of Club to fly with them to space and back today. This gives each astronaut the chance to share a few words of inspiration for the next generation. Some great art we see here. I love Gary Lai's solar system. I think that looks like.
Yeah, no, I think it's a 2-scale drawing of our solar system, and then we've got some inspiring messages of being brave, and you can do it. Absolutely, you all, you can do it. All right, we're moments away from Mission Control's official go for astronaut load-in to begin. While we wait for that, let's take a quick break.
And there they are, the crew of New Shepard 20.
Crew departing the Astronaut Training Center.
Oh, we've got a nice wave there from Jim.
They are moving with purpose. We're seeing that natural energy you mentioned earlier, Eddie.
Oh, I wish I was there with them. Just sign me up.
In the driver's seat there, crew member 7, Sarah Knights. If you're just joining us, welcome to Blue Origin's 4th human flight. Our crew is on the move. They received the official go for astronaut load. They're on the way to the rocket that will take them to space and back.
And a little hard to see from our footage there, but that is my favorite parade. The energy is incredible. It's a chance for Team Blue. Look at Gary, look at how happy he is. But it's a chance for Team Blue, the crew's friends, family, really everyone to whoop it up and support the astronauts one last time before launch. Now, we're down there with cowbells making noise, but the astronauts, they're focused, they're calm, they look ready to fly.
I love hearing those cowbells, and I'm a little mad at you, Eddie. You didn't bring us a cowbell for the desk.
Nonetheless, we're supportive of our crew today. Did you see those smiles?
So excited for this team. As you can tell, on this road to space, visiting Space on New Shepard is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If you'd like to purchase a ticket for this amazing journey, visit blueorigin.com and click Fly to Space. As they make their way to the rocket, let's meet today's crew.
In seat number 1 is Senior Director and Chief Architect of New Shepard, Gary Lai. Gary was one of Blue Origin's first 20 employees and is the architect of our New Shepard system. His contributions to this rocket, this company, this industry have been monumental. He leads by example with humility, compassion, and intelligence, and he's the benchmark for what we humbly aspire to each day at Blue Origin. I know that flying on New Shepard has been Gary's dream since day one. He's worked so hard and so long for this. Emotional day for all of us to watch that dream come true.
George Nield is in seat number 2. He founded Commercial Space Technologies to encourage and facilitate commercial space activities. But previously, George had a very big job as the FAA's Associate Administrator for Commercial Space Transportation for a decade, from 2008 to 2018, a role in which he was pivotal in paving the way for the success of commercial spaceflight. The whole industry thanks you, George. We're honored to give him the view of Earth he's been dreaming about since he was a child.
Now, some have called him the modern-day Marco Polo. Jim Kitchen is in seat number 3 today. He's a professor at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, an entrepreneur and world traveler. Today, he'll become the first person to have visited all 193 UN-recognized countries and traveled to space. He's done more than just step foot in these countries. He really experiences them. He's hunted Goliath frogs in Cameroon, interviewed residents of an internally displaced people camp in Iraq, and today he'll experience the final frontier, space. Jim is very much looking forward to seeing a borderless planet and connecting that experience with all of us back here on Earth.
In seat number 4 is legendary entrepreneur, angel investor, and former CEO of Party America, Marty Allen. Marty is a lifelong aviation enthusiast who, get this, Eddie, he soloed his first airplane on his 16th birthday before he had a driver's license.
That's incredible.
Marty's a true adventurer, a lifelong sailor, and racer of boats and cars. He was actually released from the Navy flight program because of allergies, but rest assured, Marty, allergies won't hold you back today.
That's right, Marty. Godspeed. Husband and wife Marc and Sharon Hagle are in seats 5 and 6 today. Sharon's an educator and philanthropist, and Marc is the president and CEO of Tricor International, a residential and commercial property development corporation. In 2015, Sharon founded nonprofit Space Kids Global, whose mission is to inspire students, particularly young girls, to excel in science, technology, engineering, art, and math. To date, Sharon has reached nearly an incredible 100,000 students globally.
Our crew is circling the ring road right now next to their live and waiting rocket. So excited for this crew. And I certainly know that Eddie and I are biased, but we're especially thrilled for Gary Lai. He's such an icon inside and outside Blue Origin.
Chief Architect of New Shepard, and I've been working on the program from the very beginning. So I joined Blue Origin in March of 2004 as one of its first 20 employees, and that was actually before the New Shepard program even officially began. In that time, it was just a concept, a little bit more advanced than a napkin sketch, and I helped build the team that would eventually design and put it together.
And liftoff.
When most people look at the New Shepard, they might see the astounding technology. To me, New Shepard is about the wonderful team that I've had the pleasure to work with over 18 years. I'm one of those people, and there are a lot of us at Blue, where opening the road to space for humanity is a calling. As humans, our grandest accomplishments happen because we are explorers by our fundamental nature. There is such a grand space and universe out there with so many resources and so many things to explore. I almost would not know what to do with myself, and I have very few useful skills, I think, that are not related to flying people to space. There's very few jobs, very few professions, and very few places where you have that combination of working on something so important that is at the same time so challenging and so rewarding. I can't wait to fly on the New Shepard vehicle. Everyone we talk to that has been to space described going into space as a life-changing experience. I don't know how I'll feel, actually, on that date. Obviously, it'll be a cause of celebration, but it will also be a period of a lot of self-reflection. This is a once-in-a-lifetime, once-in-a-career opportunity to follow a program from start to finish to such a major goal. So I hope I will feel that it was as meaningful as the amount of time and energy that we put into it.
It is safe to say all of us at Team Blue are so excited to fly Gary Lai.
Fly Gary Lai.
Hashtag fly Gary Lai.
That's right.
We're thrilled for Gary today. Words truly cannot describe it, and I am absolutely thrilled to say Gary is currently climbing the launch tower in the bottom right of your screen. If meeting Gary is any indication, we're passionate about doing meaningful, historic work here at Blue Origin. Come join Gary, Eddie, myself, and the rest of us here at Team Blue. We're quickly growing across the country.
We have offices and factories in Washington, Florida, Texas, Alabama, Washington, D.C., and California. We've recently expanded to Colorado, Virginia, and Arizona. Big initiatives require the best and the brightest, like Gary Lai, like Jackie, like you. Come work with the smartest people on the planet, solving the most interesting challenges as we build a road to space. Encourage you to visit our website for more details. And as we see our astronauts ascend the tower, let's take a moment to discuss some of the things each astronaut will fly with today. Jim Kitchen is carrying his 10 passports with him. The one with the Ukraine stamp will be in the pocket closest to his heart. He's also carrying a Ukraine flag and an American flag.
Marty will be bringing a 10-foot by 6-foot American flag made to fit exactly inside his flight bag. He'll be hanging this flag in his front yard when he returns home from space, to be Marty's neighbor.
Sharon will be bringing challenge coins from her STEAM-focused nonprofit, Space Kids Global.
Marc will be bringing a small stuffed drum from Purdue University, his alma mater. Marc actually used to play drums in the Purdue marching band. And fun fact, Eddie, Purdue is home to the world's largest drum.
I did not know that, but boiler up. Dr. George Nield will be bringing numerous patches and other artifacts from his storied aerospace career, as well as his Air Force Academy badge.
And one of the things Gary Lai is bringing with him is a first edition copy of the book, From the Earth to the Moon.
And again, good morning, everyone. Welcome here to the launch pad. We are sitting T-minus 34 minutes, 34 seconds, and counting. The crew is in that white room before they make their walkout to the rocket and board. The countdown so far progressing really smoothly here this morning. In the last 10 minutes, we saw crew depart the astronaut building, make their way out to the pad, get those last pad photos before launch, and ascend that tower very quickly. You can tell they're very excited for the flight here this morning. Again, if you guys have questions, let us know in the chat. We'll be answering those live. Looks like crew's getting ready for a walkout here, but we want to know from you in the chat, if you were going to space, what would you bring with you? You get a small blue pouch that you get to take with you. So let's listen in to Blue Origin Mission Control as the crew heads out and rings that bell. The bell is a symbol that they each ring as they head across the bridge towards the rocket, kind of as a symbol of departing. You can see the crew member 7 there in the all black has trained with the crew and is ready to go. Sounds like Blue might be having some issues with their audio or a fire alarm, one of the two. But there you go, you can hear that bell being rung as the crew is heading for Capsule ingress down at Launch Site 1 in Corn Ranch, Texas. There goes Jim. So excited for him to get to fly here today, but all of them. And there's Gary Lai. 18 years working on New Shepard, almost 20 years with Blue Origin, and getting to board what he really helped lay the foundation for. So super excited to see. Yeah, it sounds like they might be having a little bit of audio issues, but that is okay. We're going to take some time, answer your questions, see what you guys would want to bring with you. Don Spears, why do they need to wear overalls? It won't be dirty in the capsule. Not really overalls, but they get their flight suits. It's something just to unify the team, the crew, and make sure that you don't mix up a extra crew member and the actual crew. If you're going to space, probably should have a spacesuit. Black Widow, I would take my flag, take that, I take on all the vacations, and that's awesome, Black Widow.
Just exited the safety shelter, crossed the gantry to their crew loading tower, and they're entering the capsule in ascending order. Gary Lai in the first seat, George Nield in the second seat, Jim Kitchen in seat number 3, Marty Allen in seat number 4, and Sharon Hagle and Marc Hagle in seat number 5 and 6.
And the crew has begun boarding. Check. You can see Jim getting a picture there before he boards that rocket. You can see his hat covered in some patches. I think one of the first to fly with a hat, so we'll see if he actually launches with it. Each one getting a picture in front of that New Shepard capsule as they prepare for liftoff as we come down to T-minus 31 minutes and counting. And there goes Gary Lai. It's one of the really neat things with this New Shepard is it's really quick. From the time of the building to the time of boarding, it's 15 minutes. for that process. And now we'll see them all get strapped in, make sure they're tested. I don't see Jeff Bezos there today, so we might not see any little speech from Jeff on board. Maybe he's recorded something for them. And then they will prepare to close that hatch. That kind of off yellow ring you saw around the door is not going to be there. That is just to help protect from any FOD entering the vehicle, protecting the seals. And now you'll see those crews head on board with the camera and double check all of the straps of the crew. And then they will begin to prepare to close the hatch of RSS First Step. That's the first and only capsule they currently have that is for crew. Don Spears, you're calling them crew, not passengers. Will they be controlling this flight? No, they are totally riding on, so I guess technically they would be a passenger. But we do list them as a crew because that is generally speaking what space has been. We're entering this really interesting era where we are going to have to change some of our terminology and definitions on what is an astronaut, what is a crew member, what is a passenger, and all of that. So that's a great call out. Yes, technically they would be passengers as they are just along for the ride. It is entirely fully automated, the process. So that is a very good call out there. Please be seated, tighten your seatbelts, and be ready for liftoff too. I agree, Tubular. That would be something I hope to hear in my lifetime. Absolutely. Black Widow, Jeff Who. See some beautiful drone and helicopter shots from around the pad as we come down T-minus 29 minutes and counting. You can see that yellow ring already being removed from the door. You can see Gary Lai out that left window. That's seat 1, and then they rotate around through seat 6, as they prepare for launch. Yeah, there's civilian crew. When is New Glenn to take flight? That is a really great question. Whenever Blue Origin decides to make those BE-4s, we'll see Vulcan and New Glenn take flight. Probably Vulcan a year before, though.
Capsule, and crew member 7, Sarah Knights, today is helping them into the capsule, getting them all situated, getting them all buckled into those seats. But Eddie, they've been down here in West Texas for a few days. Yeah. They're very well practiced in buckling those seatbelts. Tell us a little bit about astronaut training.
Yeah, no, our astronauts arrive a few days before their launch, and they learn everything about the New Shepard system. They practice harnessing their buckles, getting into their seats, getting out of their seats, what the correct microgravity etiquette is, and it's just an incredible experience. Can you imagine going through that experience with the architect of New Shepard, Gary Lai?
I truly can't. I mean, talk about subject matter expertise. It was so funny. I was thinking about Kevin and Sarah training Gary Lai to go on this experience. The architect of New Shepard, Gary Lai. He's actually right there on the left when you're peering into the open hatch here. Just so thrilled. It's unbelievable to see Gary in that seat.
Absolutely. And what an experience for our astronauts to train with Gary, to hear the stories and the context and behind the whys of how New Shepard is today. And of course, about our vision and this inspiring mission that Gary has undertaken now for over 18 years. That's perseverance, it's diligence, it's determination. He's designed, he's built, he's tested, and today he's flying New Shepard.
We said it before, #FlyGaryLai. Shortly coming up here is the hatch closure. So at this point, our tower crew and our crew member 7 are doing those final preparations. Let's check in on that.
Your truck to space. We're going to get started with astronaut contact. Astronaut lie. How do you read?
Fuel control, astronaut lie, loud and clear.
Astronaut Nield, how do you read?
Nield, loud and clear.
Astronaut Marco, how do you read?
Polo, loud and clear.
Astronaut Marty, how do you read?
Astronaut Marty, all is good.
Astronaut Space Cadet, how do you read? Astronaut March, how do you read?
Astronaut March, stay okay.
All right, Blue Control has all astronauts loud and clear. At this point, Sarah's out. You're going to see Felix for a moment, and then we'll be getting into...
Thanks for joining us for our 4th human flight. As you just heard, those were our capsule communicators, Kevin Sprague and crew member 7 in training, Laura Stiles, checking in with our 6 astronauts today, George Nield, Sharon and Marc Hagle, Jim Kitchen, Marty Allen, and the architect of New Shepard, Blue Origin's very own Gary Lai, are loaded into the RSS First Step, awaiting a life-changing experience to space and back.
And we just had a great shot of Gary and his smile, and of course, the RSS First Step over the hatch. It means reusable spaceship. This capsule has already gone to space 5 times, and it did so in the span of 12 months. Operational reusability, like today's 6th flight, is an underlying philosophy at Blue. It's fundamental to ultimately and dramatically reducing the cost of access to space. I'm just blown away when I think about New Shepard's vehicles being designed for 100 uses. We work towards that goal step by step.
We're at just about T-minus 23 minutes until launch. While we have a moment, let's take a closer look at today's 4th human flight crew, dubbed the Roaring 20s.
I love that name.
And for those just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. We're coming down T-minus 23 minutes, 5 seconds and counting until liftoff of New Shepard 20. We've seen some questions coming in the chat. We want to hear from you. What do you think people on board New Shepard should be called in general? Private astronaut, space passenger, space tourist, or citizen explorers? We joked about in the Discord the 5th option should just be rich. But we want to hear from you. What do you guys think it should be called? This video has some music in it. That's why we're not patching that audio through, but keeping it on screen for you. Robert Sutton has a great question. Have you heard anything about the reason the last week 2 replacement? That is because Pete Davidson was not able to make a commitment to the new launch date. So the launch was originally scheduled for last week. He was able to commit to that. And then with the delays, he already had some other commitments. What type of commitments you would have that you aren't going to take a $500,000 ticket to space that you're being given? I don't know. But he was sticking to his schedule. And that is why Pete Davidson from Saturday Night Live is not on board. But there we go. We have hatch closure at T-minus 22 minutes and counting. We were talking about this in the Discord. If you guys like to join the chat, head on over. It's totally free to do so. Links in the chat there. We're in live comms, but they are flying along. I think this is the first time we've gone this far along without having a hold, so hopefully we will see it continue on that way. Dom Space, well, not space anything. They need to be people who get to orbit. It's using the language in use for it. They cross the Kármán line, which is technically the part for space. So we do have to. Pete Davidson has a dentist appointment. Oh my gosh, tubular. They do technically enter space. They do not go orbital. And that is why we don't say just astronaut. They're private astronaut. And that's why there's some other options, which is why I think we see space tourists or space passengers being the preferred there. But we're in, as we said, a very interesting time where we are having to come up with these new names that are not going to demean the history of those true astronauts that paved the way for us to be here, but is a title that the people paying a lot of money to make private spaceflight possible are still an honoring name. So we'll see what happens there. They do normally launch in suit stock bones because this is only a 10-minute flight and is suborbital. They do not need full suits. They can just wear these blue suits because the capsule itself is fully enclosed. But unlike something like a Crew Dragon, where if there was a pressure failure in the capsule, they'd have extra safety. With this, they're relying just on the capsule. But that's because it's a quick mission. They're only at 0G for just over 3 minutes. So we'll see what happens there. Tim, so who has more money, Jeff or Elon? Elon, but a lot of it is working money. Jeff had a lot of money, then he left Amazon to do Blue Origin because they thought they were going to get the moon lander, and then they didn't, and now they are working to have another submission for the new NASA contract. So we are going to see another Blue Origin lander. So we'll see what happens there. But there you go. You can see that capsule on your screen there showing that they do get above the Kármán line. Samoan says an astronaut has a degree in years of training. Space tourist or passenger is more appropriate. I agree. I definitely agree. With the FAA, until Blue Origin and Virgin Orbit or Virgin Galactic kind of were talking, the FAA had the rules as you had to have training, you had to have an active role in the safety and operations of the capsule, and a couple other things to get your FAA astronaut wings. They scrubbed that program completely and no longer award those. So Wally Funk's crew was the last crew to qualify for those wings, and no longer, if you board a New Shepard, would you get FAA astronaut wings. Unfortunately, I think that was a big mistake. Even regular astronauts aren't getting them anymore. It is all you get wings of the company that you fly with. So either Blue Origin wing, PIN, or you can get Virgin, or you can get SpaceX. So very interesting to see. Jonathan, space tourist internations. Oh my goodness. The difference between space and this is the same as between flying and jumping high, quite high. Interesting. Robert Isaac, with it now in New Zealand being April Fool's Day, how many New Shepard flights do you think they may have this year? I'm hoping we see 4, 5, maybe more. I think we'll see a couple cargo ones as well, because we haven't seen them do a cargo in a while. So we will see what happens there. I'm going to work on verifying that, Robert, but if that is true, thank you for the heads up. I know they were supposed to be coming home, so if they have already, we don't get a lot of information about that crew, so we'll wait to see what happens. But if you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. We're at T-minus 17 minutes, 15 seconds and counting until liftoff of New Shepard 20 from Corn Ranch, Texas. You're looking at live views from the helicopter flying around the pad. The crew is on board, the hatch is closed, and they are now just working on sealing that hatch, the hatch on the door that gives them the final locks and controls there as they get ready to clear out the pad and get ready for the launch here this morning, carrying 6 more Blue Origin astronauts, crews, space tourists, whatever you want to call them, to the edge of space. Super excited to see Gary Lai, Jim Kitchen, and the whole crew on board going up to space. But they very quickly, in the last 30 minutes, have made it from the building out to the pad, photos at the pad, climb the tower, boarded, the hatch has been closed, and now they are ready for the final countdown of T-minus 16 minutes, 16 seconds, and counting until liftoff. We're going to listen back into Blue Origin mission control. Again, take a moment, engage that like button. It really does help us out. And share out the broadcast. If it's your first time here, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you head on over, check out our shop. We do have a couple Blue Origin items there you can pick up. Use promo code LAUNCHDAY, all one word in caps, and you can get 10% off your entire order. And if you'd like to join our Discord, we're hanging out in live comms. You can jump on over there as well. Thank you so much, Jonathan. I really do appreciate that. We try our best to do it, and we got some big things coming this year, and excited to share more with you guys in the near future. But you can see the crew member 7 and the pad crew retracting away from the side of the capsule. T-minus 15 minutes, 30 seconds, and counting. Let's listen in to Blue Origin mission control. Or I'll say that and they won't say anything, but that works too. Great to have these live views of the pad. You can see the sun having risen on a great new day. United Launch Alliance, KSB, dude, you got 50k subs? No way. I remember when I found your channel on Reddit with 200 subs. I felt so bad. Well, I appreciate it, ULA. You've been here since the early days of 2021, and appreciate your support. And yeah, 61k and 100k, here we come, hopefully by the end of the year. Only thanks to your guys' support.
As she departs the tower.
I think I saw a thumbs up.
On a slightly separate note, we've got a bunch of interviews coming up over the next couple of weeks that we did down at the Vehicle Assembly Building with the rollout of SLS, so make sure you're watching out for those. We have 9 to 10 other launches planned in the next 30 days if everything stays on schedule, so lots of live launch coverage as well as some press conferences. You can see the helicopter there in the top left corner giving us those live views. We have lots of coverage coming up here on the Launchpad. If it's your first time here, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the founder and host of the Launchpad. Here at TOP, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together. We can only do this thanks to your guys' support of hitting like, subscribing, and checking out the shop, or becoming a member and getting access to some of our behind the scenes. We've got lots of stuff coming out over the next couple of months as we continue to do our accreditation process with NASA and SpaceX, and bringing you full countdown coverage to Artemis 1, the launch of Starship. Lots of big things happening this year in space as we get ready to go back to the moon and then on to Mars. Let's listen in to Blue Origin mission control.
The original 6, and they wanted to wish you well, the Roaring 20s on your flight to space. Astronaut Michael Strahan, known as Astronaut Stray, wanted you to know the trip will go by in a flash in the moment, but your memory will make it seem like it was ours. Let your senses take over. Enjoy the ride. Take it all in, and don't forget to look out the window. Astronaut Weezer, Laura Shepard Churchley, wanted you to know you are confident to go because you have had the best training for this magnificent experience. The force you feel on launch is like being in the fastest car you've ever been in, and the pressure on your chest is great, but endurable. Weightlessness is heavenly. The 6 Gs you feel on the way back home are thrilling because you won't ever feel that amount of pressure on your body again in your life. Try lifting your arms off the armrest when you're under 6G. This is the best ride you will ever have, but it's way too short. Have a blast. Standby 1. First step, blue control. We're getting ready to go escape enabled. Look for that blue light.
You can hear there some messages from the previous crew of 6 that Michael Strahan was on board. They dubbed themselves the original 6. Today's crew dubbed the Roaring 20s for New Shepard 20. coming down 11 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. They're ready to go into launch escape here, which is when we will see that tower start to retract and that vehicle prepared. Should they need to abort for any reason, they are able to do so as we come down to those final minutes of the count. But one of the smoothest counts we have seen from Blue Origin in their entire history so far. Still time to have a hold. We've seen them all the way down to the last couple of minutes there, or we've seen them recycle, if they get down and need to go back to 5 minutes and holding. New Shepard is a very controllable rocket, and they will not launch until they know it is safe to do so. That's one of the number one priorities for Blue, especially with a crew on board. But excited to see the crew on board, ready to go. RSS first step, ready to go.
You are about to see the universe as it truly is. Thoroughly enjoy the experience, and then take this gift of perspective to help make a better world for all of humanity.
Heard another message from the New Shepard 19 crew. Sometimes when you hear him stop talking, that's because other parts of Mission Control are talking to the crew or on comms, but we don't hear all of the comms. So that's why we're hearing some of these awkward pauses, and we're in a hold.
It's getting a little larger, launch by launch, step by step. We had a few messages there from the previous crew, the original 6, and just what perspective. I think I heard that New Shepard is the best ride ever, too. So I'm going to quote that. We have entered a hold at the moment, and we're going to hang out here while we get back to you.
So like we said, too good to be true. There's a hold, but it could just be because they needed to retract that tower and they hadn't done so yet. There are certain things that have to be done for them to continue through their count, and that's why they're holding at T-minus 9 minutes, 59 seconds. This could be a very quick hold. We've seen holds as little as, 2-3 minutes, and I think our record hold is about over an hour. So we'll wait to see what is happening, but right now they are ahead of schedule. Originally, their scheduled liftoff time was 8:20 a.m. Central Time. It's currently 8:02. So they would be launching about 8 minutes early. So it is possible, it's even just that they are going to have to hold for that for their launch window of what's been filed. But we'll wait to see what happens for an update there. We did see that tower retract a little bit.
Our crew is buckled into the capsule. We're in a brief hold here, but New Shepard did just hit a big milestone in today's operations and went escape enabled. Eddie, tell us about the significance of this moment.
That's right, Jackie. Escape enabled is a pivotal moment in our flight preparation. Earlier, we talked about the full envelope escape system that we've thoroughly tested here in West Texas, all the way from the launch pad to max Q to near apogee escapes. So this system enables our mission assurance today, and so they've got a lot of roomy space in the capsule, 15 cubic meters to float around, but they will be protected the entire time by this escape system.
Of course, safety is at the center of everything we do here at Blue Origin. We'll be right back.
So they are listening into something, but it's a brief hold. Sometimes we do get told what they are, sometimes we don't. I honestly think it could be that they were just running so far ahead of schedule that we're waiting for that launch window. So if we see that hold release right around the 8-minute mark, that's most likely what it was that they were so far ahead of schedule that they needed to actually wait for when their launch window, or what they said was their targeted liftoff time, was. That is a possibility. But there are many other things on what it could be. Could be temperature, wind, fuel propellant, even just clearing the helicopters and stuff out of the region for flight. Lots of things that go into the launch protocol there. Servin, they've had holds about this time on previous launches. Yeah, normally between the 5 and 10 T-minus 5 and T-minus 10 minute mark, we see a hold. This is normally where we see the longest hold. Don Pierce, they can engage the escape system while still attached to the tower. How would that work? So the capsule itself isn't attached. The booster is. They had that walkway go out towards it. It would be tight. There's only a little bit of space between, maybe a foot between the capsule and that tower now. But they retracted it enough that if they needed to, that capsule could eject from the booster to save the crew in case of an emergency. So great question there. If you guys have questions, send those in the chat. Take us at the launch pad. We're answering those as we work through this hold. Currently holding T-minus 9 minutes, 59 seconds, and counting until liftoff. Waiting for the pizzas to be delivered. I mean, it'd be pretty good to have us bring up a slice with you. That'd be a good idea. You only got 3 minutes, though, so well, let us know in the chat. We asked it earlier. What would you bring with you in your small little fanny pack pouch of extras that you're allowed to bring? What would you have to have with you on a journey to space? And great question there. If you were wanting to bring up a quick bite, you only got 3 minutes, but if you wanted to bring up, a 1 or 2 bite thing, what would you want to bring up with you? Pizza, a brownie?
Thank you for joining us.
Let us know in the chat.
We remain in a brief hold here, but you are getting some beautiful views of Van Horn, Texas in the background from our amazing camera crew. We actually have an expert here at the desk today. Eddie lived in Van Horn and worked at Launch Site 1 for a large part of his career at Blue Origin, many years. Eddie, tell us about your time at Launch Site 1, living in Van Horn in this amazing and special community.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jackie. I've been so lucky to have started my career here at Blue Origin at our West Texas Launch Site 1, working on the West Texas test stands. Van Horn is really in the middle of nowhere, West Texas, but it's a slice of home for me and for us at Blue Origin. We moved to Van Horn in 2006. Our founder, Jeff Bezos, gave the scoop to the Van Horn Advocate all those years ago that we were going to be here, that they would hear the roar of our engines and see the beautiful flying vehicles go to the edge of space and back. Now that operation has changed. Since 2006, we've grown a lot. We're over 300 employees, and we've launched 19 times, going on 20, and we continue to test the BE3 engine, the BE3 propulsion module, the BE3U engine for New Glenn, and of course the BE4 engine for Vulcan, for New Glenn, and it's an incredible operation. Our team here has a dream job. They design, they build, they test, they push those systems to the limit, and then they learn. And it's part of the reason that we're able to today with certainty say that we believe and are proud of our mission assurance that this BE3 engine and this new Shepard system will keep our astronauts safe on this incredible ride to space.
Van Horn is truly such a special place. Every time we're here, we love seeing the signs of support for Blue Origin. The community here is truly unmatched.
Absolutely, and I'm so proud of the employees that have helped and have gotten involved in the community and have really helped Van Horn grow up with us. And that's super important because this is our home.
So special. Thank you for those special memories and insights, Eddie. We remain in a brief hold here, so let's check out more of those beautiful West Texas views, and we'll be right back.
Lots of people talking in the chat what they would want to bring with you. Someone says cheese curds. John, I'd want a steak for my last meal before the ride. Interesting choice there. Other John, I would take a Snickers. It's a good idea there. Anxiety meds, says one person. Interesting. A shot. Interesting. Sidewalk would bring a bag of stamps and sell them later. Interesting. Interesting idea there. Competition went with M&M's. Interesting choice. Yeah. Good old M&M's. Anything from a company who will give me free samples later. That's a good idea, Servin. Yeah. Let them, get your seat on board and then sell those 3 minutes to other companies, or 1 minute of it for some pictures. That's an interesting choice. Not sure Blue Origin would like that, but have to see what happens. A milkshake with an ill-fitting lid. Oh my, that'd be quite interesting there. If you're just joining us, though, we're at T-minus 9 minutes, 59 seconds, and holding. We've been holding for about 8 minutes. So at this point is when I expected them to release the countdown should they have been having to wait just for their original T0, which was 8:20 a.m., which we have now passed with the remaining 10 minutes. That would get us to basically that 8:20 window here in about 30 seconds from now. So we'll see if it releases then. If not, it is something else they are working on.
We currently remain in a hold while Mission Control makes sure all systems and weather are aligned for today's flight. But while we have a moment, let's talk about how our learnings from the BE-3 engine flying today on New Shepard are carried forward into the BE-3U program.
We're going to leave this on screen so you can see what they're showing there, and then talking more about their engine development and their engine for hopefully going back to the moon with their lunar lander. So definitely an interesting project they're working on. Milky Way chocolate bar, Hot Pocket, Galaxy chocolate, Star Bar. See, that's what I would, you got to bring those space-themed drinks, foods. Absolutely, but that hold countdown still continuing, so most likely they're now looking at something to do with either the winds, the upper level winds, or something along those lines, or normally what end up putting us in a hold here. Again, if it's your first time here, take a moment, hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out, and hit like. I know it's annoying to hear, but it's free, and it really does help us out. We appreciate your guys' support in that way. We've seen these holds last from just a couple of minutes up to well over an hour, so we'll wait to see what happens here. I don't see anything showing that we're going to get that hour delay. Crew is on board, the tower is retracted, the rocket is in escape mode, which means it is ready for fueling, which means they are getting ready here. You're seeing an animation of their new Glenn rocket, which they hope to be able to launch soon with their new engines that they're still working on, all down there at Corn Ranch. If you guys have questions, this is time we can answer them. Take a moment, send those in the chat. It's free to do so. Just tag us at the launch pad, and we will be working on answering those live. It can be anything to do with Blue Origin, New Glenn, New Shepard, or New Glenn. There we go, for New Shepard. But let us know in the chat. Tag us at the launch pad. We are just holding T-minus 9 minutes, 59 seconds, and holding. We've been in this hold for now just coming up on 11 minutes. Let's listen back into Mission Control for maybe an update.
Of our West Texas test stands. Jackie, when I first moved to West Texas, I started on the BE-3 engine test stand. We call it the Geeks test stand, the Giant Engine Experiment test stand. And it's a prolific test stand that tests both the BE-3 PM version and the BE-3U up.
So they're still talking about their engines here. We haven't seen any tweets from Blue Origin in the last little bit, after they said confirm of the closing of the hatch. So we are still in this hold here. Time in the top right corner, if you're wondering where we're at. T minus is how long is left in the count. H minus should actually be H plus in a way, because that is the hold timer counting up. So that's how long they have suspended the actual countdown sequence, and how long they have been in a hold. So we're coming up to 12 minutes. This rocket is particularly phallic. Yes, it is. Absolutely. When launched? Soon. Tubular capsule for astronaut. Capsules for passengers should have toilet bathroom facilities. I'm serious, especially when the customers are of older age. Yeah, with this one, you would just be told to hold it. Or, I mean, wet your suit, but I don't think that's going to be that exciting. DD, I agree. This is our future space, the final frontier. Absolutely. Doing well, Virginia. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Megan, I know I'm late, but I'm bringing my protection items because space travel always carries risks. Oh my goodness. You guys are great. If you guys are just joining us, take a moment. Let us know where you're watching from in the chat. We got people all over the world tuning in, and glad to welcome you here. If it's your first time here, let us know that in the chat as well. I'll give you a shout out, and we'll go from there. For 500,000, you bring a case of beer. You only get a small pouch. You only get a small pouch for what you can bring. But you can see the beautiful rocket, beautiful sunrise on that rocket as they get ready for liftoff. Still holding that 13 minutes and adding into this hold. You can hear some of the sounds of the rocket as it sits there. You can see the crew through their windows, all strapped in their seats. I'm sure having great conversations about, are we gonna go? Wally Funk came through the radio when she was in a hold like this, saying, are we just gonna go? Like, let's go already. So I'm sure it's the anticipation builds, especially for how long this hold is, and we'll go from there. We got UK, North Dakota, Auckland, New Zealand, more New Zealand. Great to have you all here. Ireland, Australia, thanks for being here. I am too, Virginia. Seeing the piece from the ISS and the crew coming home was really great to see yesterday. I agree. Toledo, how's it going? Good to see you as always. Denver, Colorado, checking in there. Awesome. We got Scotland, St. Helens, England. Great to have you all here. I saw a question coming in there. I thought talking about update with Starship. Is the FAA trying to stop Starship from Justin? I don't think they're indirectly trying to stop it. I think the FAA does have a lot of stuff they're working on. And, though we all, early morning, late night working on stuff, and then early morning. Short sleeps don't help. But I don't think the FAA is intentionally trying to stop Starship. We have to remember, even though we're all SpaceX fanboys, and we trust the rocket, there's a lot of stuff that has to be proven for them to be ready. And that takes time, especially within a government organization. That always takes time. Now, could there be back-end workings that they're delaying Starship because it would be a massive embarrassment to the U.S. government if Starship flew and worked better than SLS, which took 12 years and $21 billion, and it only took a few billion privately? Yes. But I really hope that isn't why we're seeing those delays. They had tens of thousands of responses come in, which is probably extremely rare for the FAA when they put out for public feedback, because the whole SpaceX community responded. And they're trying to go through those and respond to them and clarify what people meant. And and different things like that. So, the FAA took another month delay, and we'll wait and see what happens. Right now, well, we did. Starship's unstacked right now, but last week we had 2 super heavy launch vehicles, SLS, the Space Launch System, and Starship BS-420. This morning, if you haven't been on Space Twitter, we have had confirmation that Booster 7 has rolled out to the pad down at Starbase. So right now we have 2 boosters again out at the Starbase launch site along with Starship S-20. Booster 7, no engines on it, and no grid fins either. So not a completed booster, but maybe going to go do some pressure testing. Is something we could imagine seeing happen, but great question there. If you're just joining us, we are at T-minus 9 minutes, 59 seconds, and holding. We've been in this hold coming up 17 minutes. We don't exactly know why we've had this hold.
We remain in a hold in our
Let's listen in.
countdown today to make sure everything is ready to fly. While we have a moment, let's talk some more about safety. Of course, our #1 priority at Blue.
So they're going to talk a little bit more about safety. We're going to continue answering your guys' live comments and questions, so you can send those in the chat. Tag us at the Launchpad, and we will be answering those here live. 3 layers of safety checks and all redundancies counter-checked. Yep, exactly. Well, let's listen into this interview here.
Priority. What does that mean?
Yeah, it's interesting, this idea of safety as a priority. And there are a lot of ways to think about this, but I see safety more as a core value that you build a business around. And a business like what we were thinking about for New Shepard and what Blue's doing in general is animated around this idea of safe and reliable systems.
So New Shepard went through this extensive test program, right? And we flew for, 5-6 years before we put people on board. How do you know that you're done?
In a certain sense,
instilling safety into both the vehicle and the how it operates?
Yeah, there are a couple ways you kind of go about it. The first thing you have to do is you have to set goals, safety performance goals, safety performance thresholds, to help you understand when you've met those thresholds. But in any program, you're never really done. You always want to look for opportunities to improve the system, both operationally, both for safety, both for reliability as well. And so we always have to maintain a humility that comes with flying rockets with these kinds of energies involved. And so we, and the ops team that we're about to go fly this mission, I've never seen a team more diligent, more patient, and the constant awareness and the vigilance required to say, raise issues and make sure they're addressed before we decide that it's time to fly people.
It's taken a team of people to get to this point, to be flying people on New Shepard. What would you say to this team?
I'm humbled to work with this team. It would be lying to say that 3 people who happen to have voted as part of a much larger tech for human flight certification are the people who decided that we're safe enough. Hundreds of people have put their blood, sweat, and tears into this program. Each of them just immensely individually focused on not just the safety of the system, but the reliability of the system. And then there is the work that our team does to kind of partner with them to help them achieve these goals. I am immensely grateful for the opportunity to work with them, and I'm humbled to have an opportunity to kind of lead the safety mission assurance efforts with this team.
Well, tell me this. Would you fly a New Shepard?
I would, and let me just say this.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people at Blue that would be excited to fly a New Shepard, and I'm happy to count myself as one of them. It's a fantastic system. It's a very robust system. And yeah, if I ever had the opportunity to fly, I'll wink a little bit at the folks making these decisions. I would be super excited.
Fantastic. Well, I hope we get to go one day.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew Lake, for that incredible discussion of New Shepard safety systems with backups and backup to the backups, and even in some cases, backup to the backup to the backup. We are still in a hold, as you can see from the screen, so we're going to enjoy some shots of the New Shepard rocket in the West Texas desert.
An interesting interview there. I love how Blue Origin really does try to show spotlights onto their team that make things possible. We're working on a new interview series called Behind the Console that we look forward to bringing you throughout this year, so stay tuned for that, with some of our first interviews of that series being with some of the team of Artemis and Orion, so stay tuned for that coming out over the next couple of weeks. Some questions that we were addressing in the chat. SLS currently targeting launch date June 7th at the earliest. I had an interesting question about would we have flags on Mars? I think we'll see a flag of Mars, maybe. I think we will see flags of our countries that we're from on Mars. But one part of the Artemis Accords is that they cannot state, any country cannot state claim to land or resources above, below, or on the surface of an area of the moon, Mars, or anything in between, including asteroids. That is part of the Artemis Accords. So if you are part of the Artemis Accords, which the United States is, and I believe about 16 other countries at this point now are, they have to follow those rules. SpaceX is not in the Artemis Accords, but the Human Landing System Lunar Starship from SpaceX that NASA is using is. So we're in a really interesting gray area there, waiting to hear what's going to happen there. If you're just joining us, though, T-minus 9 minutes, 59 seconds, and holding. We've been in this hold for 21 and a half minutes. We've not been told what this hold is for, but we're waiting to hear. Generally speaking, in the past, it has been due to wind, so we will wait to see what happens. But the vehicle is in launch escape, which means at any time that top capsule part, the head of the rocket, could launch off if the vehicle was to detect any sort of critical failure of the booster and a risk to the crew. If you guys have questions, send those in the chat. Take us at the launch pad. Take a moment, hit that like button, share it out. Really does help us out. Lots of launches coming up this month. 9 to 10 other ones already on the schedule. We're going to be pre-scheduling a bunch of those streams later today, so you'll be able to hit set reminder on all of them. And of course, don't forget, our 24/7 James Webb tracker is still up and running, where you can track along with the progress of the James Webb Space Telescope. Robert, is Electron still planned to fly tomorrow? From what we've heard, yes. But we're unsure. We haven't heard a lot from Rocket Lab on it, so we're hoping to hear some information from them today on that launch window, and once we do, we will confirm that. If this flight is delayed to the next day, could it be 2 launches in the same hour within 3, 4? Absolutely. That's definitely not an issue, especially since this is a suborbital mission. No issue with Rocket Lab and New Shepard launching, or Electron and New Shepard launching even at the same time. Really, they could launch at the same time. They really wanted to. Other sides of the planets, different impacts. So definitely there. The big windows, Cooking with Cows says, the big windows like that are nice for low-altitude short missions, nice Disneyland ride, but for actual space missions, no immediate. It's true. Those large windows do bring some bigger risks.
Let's talk about New Glenn.
Oh, they're going to talk about New Glenn. No one wants to talk about New Glenn. We want to know where our BE-4 engines are. That's what we want to know. Where's our BE-4s? So we can see Vulcan. Sat-nav, every time a single rocket punches through the atmosphere, it damages the ozone layer. We need to minimize this. Not entirely true, but somewhat. Yeah, rockets don't do as much damage as you necessarily think they do for it. Don Spear's flag should be left at home. They cause nothing but grief. I would disagree with that. Flags, generally speaking, flags are something you should be proud of. It represents the country that you came from. And especially within this space exploration, you should be proud to wear the flag of the country that you are flying with. So we'll have to see what happens. Hey Marcus, great to have you here. Woke up just in time. You would have been 25 minutes late if we were on time, but glad to have you here. Atheist, we could just pull out when we want to. I mean, technically, maybe true, but we'll see what happens. But great to have you all here. If you're just tuning in, welcome here to the Launchpad. My name is Zach, founder and host of TLP Network, and you're watching our live launch coverage of New Shepard 20 launching from Launch Site 1 at Corn Ranch, Texas in the United States. You can see in the bottom right corner the rocket out on the pad, the crew on board, the emergency escape system active, the towers retracted, and we're just waiting for fueling to complete and launch. But we've been now in this hold for coming up on 25 minutes. So we'll see what happens. Sat-nav, yep, phallic symbols, absolutely. You guys are great. Some of the comments in the chat today that we're just not going to say. Tim, where were you broadcasting from? I'm broadcasting live from the TLP Network studios up in Edmonton, Canada right now. But great to have you all here. Don't have a cold, Brian. Just really tired with the whole Soyuz mission yesterday, bringing the crew home. We're running on just a couple hours of sleep over the last couple days, but we weren't going to miss this, and excited to enter a very busy launch window. Let's listen in, maybe an update.
Eddie, it's very special to be testing New Glenn at NASA Glenn.
No, they're still talking about New Glenn, which we'll see it when it flies. What is the flight time? The flight time was 8:20 a.m. Central Time, which was 6 minutes ago. So we are deep into a hold here. We'll wait to see what happens. How long was the last ride? 20-30 minutes? No, 10 minutes. 10 minutes and a few seconds from the moment of liftoff to the moment their capsule will touch down about 3 to 4 miles downrange. You'll actually sometimes be able to see the launch site in the background of where the capsule is. How many kilometers / miles down to Earth station must be? This U.S. space station is... Let me just confirm it in miles here. Is 408 kilometers, generally 400 kilometers, or 248 miles, if that was what your question was there. RB Match, any concerns with the solar flare here today? I was monitoring that. I don't think we would have seen them have crew walk out if the solar flare was a risk. If for those that don't know, we did have a large ejection from the sun a couple days ago, which led to us having a GE3 event overnight. So large solar activity hitting our atmosphere, and that continues throughout a bit of today. So there was the risk that could be an issue. With this being suborbital, I think they're a lot safer because they don't go really much above that 100 kilometers. But if we had other launches, like if we saw a Falcon 9 launching today, I do think we would have seen that delayed due to that solar weather. And this is going to be something we're going to have to be putting up with a lot more, is solar activity. We are at the beginning of, we're kind of about 6 months into the 11-year cycle that the sun goes through, which means we are at the going into peak activity for the sun. It's been quiet for the last many years, and now we're going to go into a lot more solar activity. So this is something we're going to be monitoring, especially going back to the moon and Mars. When we launch crews, they are not protected by the Earth's magnetic field and all of our atmosphere and everything when they go out there. So we have to monitor these storms and have procedures in place that should something occur, the crew is able to take shelter. We are working on getting a solar weather series kind of together. One, explaining all of the solar weather and how we need to be aware of it. But two, also doing weekly updates or breaking updates when there are large solar activity events. So make sure you stay tuned for those as well. Is SpaceX going to stop making the human capsule, asks Justin. Yes, they are. They've said they've done making Crew Dragon. They've got the 4 that they want, and that was kind of always the plan. That gives them, one every 3 months, if not more frequently, to turn them around for their missions. That's all they think they need. But they could always turn that back on and make more if they needed to. But they're going full-fledged into Starship. We need more launches every day forever. That'd be a lot, John. I'd have to get some more staff. Mike, how's the weather in Edmonton? You're in Winnipeg. Oh, that's awesome. My family is pretty much all from Winnipeg. So know so many people out there. Currently here, for our Canadian friends, it is 3 degrees Celsius. For our American friends, that's probably going to be 33, 34. But the real feel is -2, which is probably about -30. Or sorry, that's probably 30 Fahrenheit, -2 Celsius. And we're going to have some snow a little later today. We had some snow yesterday too. So still winter here. But let us know in the chat where you guys are tuning in from. I know we got people all over the world. We're going to listen in because that arm has been extended back out to the crew. If you've watched over the last couple minutes, the rocket is no longer standing alone. That pad has been retracted out. We're going to watch to see, do we see any vehicles approach the pad? And if we do see that, we may be entering a scrub, but we're not seeing that just yet. But with that arm back out to the rocket, we can say that the rocket is no longer in a escape-ready mode. So we are watching to see and hear any updates on what has occurred there. This is the first time we've seen this really happen within the New Shepard system, to see that arm extend back out. I know we're missing some questions, so I apologize about that, but we're waiting to see what happens there. UTAM, is the Blue Origin booster reusable? Yes, this booster has flown 6 other times. This is its 6th flight, I believe. So it is possible. No sign of ice or condensation. Is the rocket not fueled? It does not appear to be. We are still holding T-minus 9 minutes, 59 seconds. We've been in this hold for 32 minutes. No announcements on the ComNet or on Twitter from Blue Origin, but very interesting to see that arm, that crew access arm, re-extended in the last minute out to the rocket. We will hear an update from the crew if something is occurring, but just like us, the hosts have to be updated as well, and we're not seeing anything just yet from that. We did also just hear Marc Vandenhei has landed in Houston, the NASA plane back in Houston, so great to hear there. If you guys have questions, let us know in the chat. Oh, here we go.
Mission control ensures that all systems are a go for launch. While we wait, let's talk about an exciting new project at Blue Origin, Orbital Reef.
How about we don't, and we focus on what's going on right now. So they have not ordered a scrub yet. We are still going. I'm just checking on Space Twitter for people, seeing if anyone has any updates, but doesn't look like that. But that crew access arm was re-extended there It takes only about 5-6 seconds for them to do so. So we'll wait to see what all is occurring and how this countdown will continue to proceed. Optimus Subprime, was this the ship that Pete Davidson was supposed to be on? Yes, that is correct. That is absolutely correct there. UTAM, 6th flight. I wouldn't fly on this. 6th flight of the booster on a mission. But they've had other boosters. This is their 4th booster. Their 3rd booster, I want to say, has had 7, 8, 9 flights. So they have been busy there. If you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. You're joining us for our live launch coverage of New Shepard 20 from Horn Ranch, Texas, with Blue Origin. The crew boarded the capsule about 45-50 minutes ago. Hatch was closed. We were proceeding really well. We had a beautifully smooth countdown through the morning, all the way to T-minus 9 minutes, 59 seconds, where you see that clock now, and then we entered this hold. The crew access arm right before the hold was retracted, and the vehicle put into an escape mode for fueling. But a couple minutes ago, we saw that crew access arm be re-extended, which means it is no longer in a launch escape system mode. So we're waiting to hear from updates. No updates from Blue Origin on the comms. Their hosts aren't saying anything either. So we are waiting to see how this launch will proceed. But let us know in the chat, would you fly on New Shepard? I feel pretty confident about it. They've had 20 flights. It's a safe vehicle. It's got backups if needed. So it feels pretty safe. Josh, no famous people on board. No, like, major celebrities. There's some large entrepreneurs and activists on board. That are some really cool people. Probably the biggest famous person would be a famous person internally to Blue Origin, which is Gary Lai, who has worked with Blue Origin for 20 years, 18 years working on developing New Shepard. He started with Blue Origin before New Shepard's program was more than just a sketch. So we'll see what occurs there. Pete had some other commitments. That's why he was not able to do it. They had to delay the launch a couple of days, and that's why he was not able to make that commitment. And they had to delay it more to get Gary Lai ready to go. Luckily, their training is a very small training process, so they don't have to be that often that they have to update. And have, days and days and days of training. It's a quick, generally about 2 days before your launch, you arrive and go through the training process. The crew has been down there about a week because it has been delayed a couple of times, but they are excited to get ready and go. Marcus says, you're not flying with Blue Origin unless ULA gets their B4s and we get an apology for the stupid lawsuit. Interesting to hear. You wouldn't fly it? We also want to hear from you. If you haven't yet, take a moment, answer the poll. What do you think the people on New Shepard should be called? Private astronaut, space passenger, space tourist, or citizen explorers? Right now, over 300 votes. Space tourists well in the win with 50%, with 24% space passengers, 16% space tourists, and citizen explorers. Let's listen in back to Mission Control for maybe an update.
To continue advancing our orbital reef partners alongside our teammates. We actually at Blue Origin do have a lot of great experience with conducting this kind of microgravity research. Eddie, New Shepard has really been the test bed for this at Blue Origin. Can you tell us about that?
I'd love to, Jackie. We've got an incredibly capable payload integration management team that has flown over 11 successful payload flights on New Shepard, getting these researchers 180 seconds of microgravity and just advancing science as we know it. So kudos to them, and I'm just so proud of them, Jackie.
I am as well, Eddie. With that, let's take a quick breather and we'll be right back.
So with that, no more updates. You can see that countdown clock still holding. 9 minutes, 59 seconds and holding. 37:37 into 37 minutes, 37 seconds into this hold. A good sign, I would say, is that we have not seen anyone return to the pad. We do not see any of the crew member 7s there, but we'll wait and see. I agree with you, Tubular. I feel sorry for the passengers having to sit strapped in for an unknown long hold. Yeah, this is what we said earlier this morning. We asked you guys, how long of a hold do you think we will see on today's flight? We had a number of votes. We had 32% said 0 to 20 minutes. 36% said 21 to 40 minutes, and you guys are about to be out of the window there. 17% said 41 to 60, and 16% said 61 plus minutes. So the majority of 68% of you in about a minute are going to be wrong. I would be too. I was thinking we'd see under 40 today with how smoothly everything was going, but as we continue in this countdown, we'll wait to hear some updates on this, and hopefully we'll hear some updates from Blue Origin maybe following the mission on what the hold was. There are so many things that go into launching a rocket. They have to make sure the area is safe, there's no other people, the range is clear, the weather's good. You can see that windsock on the top left tower there by the stairs where they came up. Doesn't seem to be flapping all that much around, so the winds don't, and I mean you can see the bush right in front of your screen. Doesn't seem to be any sort of major wind, at least right at the pad, so we are keeping an eye on that. If you're just joining us, take a moment, engage that like button. It really, really, really does help us out, and subscribe as well. Sir Van, you still in the window by a minute and a half? You got 30 seconds left there. We'll see what happens. Tim, hopefully they have a deck of cards. They're all strapped in, so they more have to do like I Spy, but they'd have to do I Spy based on what they see out of their window that hopefully the others can see something similar. I'm sure they're all just talking about how excited they are, maybe talking about training. They're still in communication with Mission Control as well, so even though we're not hearing it, they could be still talking with their crew support in the Mission Control, getting updates, asking questions. Things like that. Might even have some music on. We'll have to see. Atheist, hey, the space tourists have a great view and don't have to pay for this. Interesting concept. Not all the people have to pay to be on board, but Tom Hanks, yeah, he did say he wasn't going to pay for this. So we'll see. I agree, Indy. I agree. It's hard. Hosting is hard, especially in a sense like this, especially being in their studio where they don't have all the information, or they have more information than they're allowed to say. That's another thing we always have to keep in mind, is it's possible they know more than they're putting out because they haven't made public statements yet. So we'll have to wait and see, because they can hear the raw comms. So if you guys have questions, take a moment, let us know in the chat. We'll be answering those live as we continue the count. If you haven't yet, this is a great time. Head on over to our shop. You can use promo code LAUNCHDAY, get 10% off everything there. And join us over on the Discord. We're hanging out in live comms. I see we got Ty and Marcus in there.
Thank you for joining us for our
let's listen in.
flight. And thank you for sticking with us throughout this hold. I spoke with our flight director, Nick Patrick, earlier this
Here we go.
And as you know, holds are, of course, a completely normal part of our launch process. Safety, as we've said multiple times on today's webcast, is always the #1 priority at Blue Origin. So we need to continue to take this time to do those checks and make sure this mission is ready for launch today. Stay tuned.
Well, that was helpful. Basically what we already were saying, but we will see what happens. I agree, you Tam. I agree. Tom Hanks has spent more time in my career. Well, you know, all that time on Apollo 13, you know, will really do it. Welcome back, Daniel. Yes, we are in a hold. We've been in a hold for 42 minutes. You're welcome, Indy. For those interested, Black Widow using the hold emoji there. Yeah, you can use that if you help support us by being a TLP crew member. Starts at $1.99 a month. Hit that join button. You can get access to some of our buttons, special emojis that we have for the launch. And we're excited to have you guys be able to do that and give some activity in the chat there. Pat, don't think you can make it, already too sleepy writing. I agree. Virginia, how we doing? Robert, hey Zach, we are past the 40-minute hold now. It seems Blue Origin was checking. Yeah, it seems like they're checking the poll. There we go, Black Widow showing off a number of the emojis. We got a bunch more coming in the near future, so make sure you stay tuned for those. If you're just joining us, you're looking at a live view of Launch Site 1 with New Shepard. It's the RSS first step aboard New Shepard Booster 4 out at Launch Site 1 at Corn Ranch, Texas, the Blue Origin launch and testing facility. We are holding T-minus 9 minutes, 59 seconds. We've been in this hold for 43 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. No time, no explanation on why such a long hold at this time, but we are still listening in to Mission Control for updates here. And we'll see what happens. If you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat. Just take us at the launch pad, and we will work to answer those. We're going to take a quick commentary break, see what else we can find out, and then we'll resume our commentary when we have updates or some more questions, or just in a few minutes once I refresh my drink. But stay with us right here on the launch pad as we continue our countdown to launch for New Shepard 20. Stay with us. And just like that, before I take a break, thank you so much, Aravale. Welcome as a VIP spectator. Thanks for joining our crew. If you guys do join as a YouTube member and are on Discord, send one of the moderators a DM or myself, and we'll make sure that we can upgrade your Discord account so you can have access to all of those exclusive tiers. But again, stay with us right here as we count down in a 9 minute, 59 seconds and holding until the launch of New Shepard 20.
Thank you for joining us for our fourth human flight. As you may have seen on your screen, we did release the hold on the countdown clock. We're at T-minus 9 minutes and 30 seconds until our fourth human flight. Let's toss it to the rocket and stand by for mission control.
And there we go. That's all it took. It took me saying that we were going to take a quick commentary break for them to say that they are getting ready for launch. T-minus 9 minutes, 15 seconds and counting. Take a moment, share out the broadcast, let people know we are back on the clock, counting down. We're going to watch that crew access arm rotate back here shortly, and we are going to see this launch continue.
All stations, this is Flight Director on Channel 1 and UHF voice to go full
Here we go.
count and launch. Capsule.
Go.
Booster.
Go.
Ground. Go. Safety. Capcom.
Go.
Engineering. Go. Copy, all goes. This is Flight Director. New Shepard is go for launch. Booster, commence the terminal count.
We'll go flight.
As you heard, we are go for launch for our 4th human flight. We're so excited for the Roaring 20s crew. Let's take a moment and take in the sights and sounds from Launch Site 1 as the minutes tick down on the launch clock here in West Texas.
Great to hear the crew. We are go for launch. You can see that crew access arm retracting. Now things get real. That crew is excited to see that chat flooded with go emojis as things really start to pick up here as we come down to T-minus 7 minutes 30 seconds and counting. Take a moment, share out that broadcast, let people know that we are back in the count. That was a long hold, over 40 minutes there, 45 minutes, but we're glad to see the count resume. And that New Shepard and Blue Origin is always putting safety first. That is the first and foremost important thing, but they are ready to go for a mission up across that Kármán line here this morning. T-minus 7 minutes and counting. See a little bit of wind now, but they're monitoring that weather, but obviously well within their parameters of preparing to launch here today, or they would not have resumed that count.
Okay, as we tick down to launch, Eddie, can you take us through today's New Shepard flight profile?
I'd love to, Jackie. So at T-minus 2.5 minutes, we effectively hand control over to our auto sequence. The flight controllers are essentially hands off. The rocket then gets ready to light the BE-3. Ignition happens at T0, followed by bootstrap and throttle up. Liftoff occurs at T+7 seconds, and that BE-3 engine powers the New Shepard vehicle through the atmosphere. Just before 1 minute, the vehicle reaches max Q, that's maximum dynamic pressure, the point of maximum stress for the structure. At 2 minutes, that main engine shuts off. We call that MECO, and at 2.5 minutes, the New Shepard vehicles separate into two, and the astronauts are free to float about the cabin. The PM reaches apogee at 4 minutes and starts to re-enter the atmosphere due to Earth's gravity. The fins steer back to the landing pad. The drag brakes deploy. The engine restarts for a nice, soft landing. Meanwhile, the astronauts were able to enjoy some microgravity time because the gumdrop shape of the capsule was much slower to re-enter. As that capsule pierces the atmosphere, we see drogues, we see mains, and shortly thereafter, the terminal deceleration system that causes the capsule to land on a cushion of air, that poof of dust. Touchdown, welcome back, astronauts. I'm so excited.
Thanks, Eddie. We're just about T-minus 5 minutes until liftoff. The 6 people on that live rocket are getting close to launching to space. Let's check in with them on the pad.
Well, they're not doing an interview with them, so I'm not sure what we're checking in on, but the crew all strapped in their seats, T-minus 5 minutes and counting, preparing for launch here. Everything at the pad has been retracted. The vehicle is back in that launch escape system. Fueling is being done, and this rocket is getting ready to go. If you haven't yet, take a moment, hit that subscribe button. Like really does help us out. Last time we'll bring that up. And make sure that you get ready if you've hit that join button. At T-minus 2 minutes and counting, we always do a go, no go, so stand by for our TLP go, no go poll there. But the 6 passengers on board getting ready to fly: Marty Allen, Sharon Hagle, Marc Hagle, Jim Kitchen, Gary Lai, and Dr. George Nield getting ready to fly and become joining that private group of private astronauts getting ready for launch. Coming down T-minus 4 minutes and counting. You can hear that rocket really starting to come alive as they get ready for flight.
We're just under T-minus 4 minutes to launch of the Roaring 20s crew. Eddie, you've been so lucky to be down here in West Texas for many a launch. What's happening across Launch Site 1 at this point when we're so close to liftoff?
Well, Jackie, it all starts at Mission Control. They are focused with final preparations, and it's a laser focus. They are there working through their steps, making sure that their systems are ready for launch. And we're just moments away from that here. Those bit checks, like we mentioned, will start at 2.5 minutes.
And the cool thing about those final checks, I mean, our crew is on board. They're hearing this living rocket. Just truly such an exciting moment for them.
Absolutely.
And we're in a hold.
Live on the launch pad.
We T-minus 3 minutes, 15 seconds and holding. 15 seconds into the hold. We'll wait to hear if any more updates. Take a moment, let us know. Send in that hold emoji in the chat. We're unsure why we're seeing another hold. Daniel, I blame you. You cursed it. You said holding.
Thank you for joining us. As you've noticed, we've just entered what we expect to be a very brief hold here, just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
What, someone need the bathroom? Come on, let's launch this thing. It's only 10 minutes up and down. You're just joining us. Welcome here to the launch pad. You're joining us for our live launch coverage of New Shepard 20. We were counting down, then we were in a hold, and there we go. We are back in the count, T-minus 3 minutes and counting.
Okay, that has been cleared. We're at about 3 minutes until launch. We understand the Roaring 20s, all 6 astronauts on board our 4th human flight are ready to go. Let's watch and listen as New Shepard goes through those final checks and revs up for today's flight.
Nice little tease there, a little pressure, but T-minus 2 minutes, 40 seconds and counting. As always, here at the launch pad, we want to see from you guys, our crew members. Let's see a go, no go in the chat. If you are a TLP member, you can use our exclusive emojis by hitting that join button if you're not, or you can just type in go or no go.
Entered auto sequence, so this rocket is going to automatically prep itself for launch. I can't wait to see what shows on our screen as the rocket prepares for liftoff.
T-minus 2 minutes. You can hear those engines warming up. Engine. Coming down T-minus 90 seconds. Warming up, cooling
Just
down
under
both.
90 seconds to go. Those aft fins at the base are actuating, going through their bit checks. They provide control authority for the vehicle on ascent and descent. At the same time, we should be able to see the engine nozzle gimbal. It will help maneuver the rocket as its primary form of control. We've entered a brief hold in that final countdown. Our teams will assess. We'll be right back.
We're holding again. Oh my goodness, the emotions of this launch. T-minus 1 minute, 7 seconds. We are back in a hold. Could you imagine being this crew?
That hold has been...
We're out of the hold.
We're at about T-minus 1 minute to liftoff.
Here we go, T-minus 49 seconds. Let's flood the chat with some goes again. We're back in the count. There we go. New Shepard 20, 6 people on board, getting ready for flight. T-minus 30.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to launch this rocket. Godspeed, New Shepard. Godspeed to our crew. We're handing it over to Mission Control.
T-minus 10, 9, 8,
7, 6, 5, 4. Command engine start. 2, 1, 0.
ignition, and building of thrust,
In the dock.
liftoff.
Shepard's cleared the tower.
And liftoff.
New Shepard 20 has cleared the tower.
New Shepard has cleared the tower and is on its way to space with our 4th human flight crew.
Godspeed, New Shepard. Godspeed, the Roaring Twenties. Enjoy this ride.
You can see on the lower left-hand side of your screen, we are gaining
Team back to
speed
5,000
as
feet.
New Shepard lifts off towards space.
After about 50 minutes of holds, New Shepard is on its way, already over
That
12,000
beautiful burn
feet.
on that BE-3 engine, lifting New Shepard towards space.
As we hit T plus 55 seconds, we will enter max Q, the point
Max
where
Q.
aerodynamic stress on the vehicle is at its maximum. We just confirmed max Q, and that BE-3 engine doing some work, 8,000 horsepower equivalent of it, to produce 110,000 pounds of thrust on its way to space.
T plus 1 minute, 15 seconds into flight. New Shepard going almost 800 miles per hour, passing 45,000 feet. Pass through max Q. You can see the live tracker on the left side of your screen. That is during the ascent, and we will see that change to different trackers for the descent, but the crew on their way. Jim Kitchen, Dr. George Nield, Gary Lai, Marc Hagle, Sharon Hagle, and Marty Allen on the way to space.
BE-3 engine there and its colorless exhaust. That's what happens when you mix liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. That is steam powering the rocket all the way up to the top. Here in 20 seconds, the BE-3 will throttle back, shut down, and will reach main engine cutoff. Stay tuned.
Saw a great question in the chat. Is it rotating around the nose axis? Yes, it does, Optimus. So as it launches and descends, it does rotate slowly, that the crew does get a couple 360-degree turns to have a incredible view. Coming up on Miko, we have Miko.
Way to go, BE-3. Thank you for powering our astronauts to space.
Stand by for that 0G indicator, waiting for separation.
Shortly here, we'll see separation of the crew.
And we have 0G. Crew members are currently experiencing 0G on board the booster, still progressing towards its apogee as well before it begins its descent. But you can now see on that right screen there a little bit of view that they have seen separation.
The astronauts to unbuckle their harnesses and start floating around the capsule. Welcome to Zero Gravity, Gary Lai and crew of the Roaring Twenties.
New Shepard currently over 315,000 feet in altitude. You see that velocity starting to change. On your left side of the screen, that's a live view from the booster showing the capsule.
Separate craft, George Nield, Sharon and Marc Hagle, Jim Kitchen, Marty Allen, and Gary Lai. Welcome to Zero G. Let's listen in as they float about the crew capsule.
You can see that booster starting to turn away. The booster will land a few minutes before. You can see the capsule there from the booster cam. Almost reaching New Shepard apogee, 4 minutes into flight coming up here. There's T plus 4 minutes. And New Shepard is now descending and picking up speed, reaching 351,274 feet in altitude. Confirmation they did pass the Kármán line. We are hearing a little bit of audio, it sounds like, from the crew. It's pretty garbled today. And both the booster and the capsule now beginning their descent back down to Earth. On your screen, you can see the booster tracker on what we will be seeing and expecting. Soon we will see the wedge fins deploy.
This is your 1 minute warning. 1 minute warning.
Congratulations to all 6 crew. They crossed that Kármán line. They just officially became astronauts. Absolutely outstanding. You heard that audio online from Kevin Sprague, our capsule communicator, telling our crew, I'm sure they're having an amazing time up there, but they have to start getting ready to buckle back in. Shortly here, both the crew capsule and the booster will be descending.
That's right, Jackie. So unofficial numbers, but we saw an apogee of 351,000 feet. So definitely well into the Kármán line, well into space. Congratulations, astronauts. The rocket is now reaching, this is the booster portion of New Shepard, is reaching its atmospheric pierce point. It's returning from space. Those control surfaces, those wedge fins, those actuated aft fins
wedge fin
are
deploy.
now starting to have a little bit of air resistance to push against.
So we do see wedge fins now. Booster is making its re-entry, beginning its journey back down. Booster descent velocity, you can see there picking up 2,400 miles per hour and increasing. The booster already more than halfway back down. Now keep in mind, this booster is going to brake, but it brakes very quickly near the end of its descent. We'll be seeing those drag brakes deploy here momentarily. You can see it starting already to lose some of its velocity, coming down 50,000 feet in altitude, 6.5 minutes since it lifted off, carrying the crew up to New Shepard. Some incredible views of the booster here. We're standing by for drag brake deployment, passing 1,000 miles per hour and slowing. You can see that wedge fin deployed at the top. You can actually see those aerodynamic forces in the wind beside it. Drag brake deploy. So those flaps have opened at the top of the booster, adding more drag, 10,000 feet descending, 400 miles per hour and slowing. We will see engine restart, but it is very close to the end there, and it almost looks like it's going to do a hover slam before it lands. Stand by for engine restart. We have engine restart. Booster's going to swing around like crazy. 1,000 feet, 500 feet, 250, 150, 100 feet, and there is the booster right on top of the launch pad, 5 miles per hour, slowing 50 feet, 40, 30, 20, 10, and touchdown of New Shepard Booster 4.
Back to Earth. What an incredible feat of engineering required to bring this rocket back safely, reuse it. All I can ever say, Jackie, is wow.
Wow, Eddie, truly, no matter how many times.
T plus 7 minutes, 40 seconds into flight. The booster back down, almost centered on the pad, but now we pan over to see where is the capsule and the crew beginning. We'll see that tracker on the left side of your screen get updated here momentarily. With the status of the New Shepard capsule, which will have its drogue chutes and its main chutes coming up here momentarily. Thanks so much, Michael. Appreciate it. And there comes the capsule in its re-entry. We'll hopefully see the live telemetry updated. There we go. And there are the drogue chutes, 5,600 feet, slowing at 150 miles per hour, down to 4,500 feet, 4,000 feet, 3,500 feet. They experience 6 Gs during descent. We've got main chute deployment at 2,700 feet, slowing to 50 miles per hour. The parachutes are unreefing, and it looks like we have good chutes. Looks like they all open there at 2,200 feet. We're now down to just 15 miles per hour. Looks like we've got 3 good chutes on New Shepard 20. I agree, Groovy. That's why I turned them down. But New Shepard 20 on its way back, coming down through 1,600 feet in altitude, just 17 miles per hour, slowing in their descent. 9 minutes 10 seconds into flight. Now, when the capsule reaches the surface, you can see it spinning there, giving those final views. But when the capsule reaches the surface, you will see one large blast of air, makes an air cushion underneath the capsule as it prepares for landing. Coming down under 1,000 feet remaining, traveling at 18 miles per hour. 800 feet. Crew taking in those last few minutes of their $250,000 to $500,000 plus dollar ticket. The first flights went for tens of millions, but we hope they enjoyed these 10 minutes. But Marty Allen, Sharon Hagle, Marc Hagle, Jim Kitchen, Gary Lai, and Dr. George Nield, 250 feet away from the surface at T plus 10 minutes into their mission, and touchdown. We have Capsule touchdown. The crew is back on Earth.
Welcome back to Roaring 20s and Astronaut Gary Lai.
That sounds like some happy crew members there. From the sounds of it, maybe y'all landed back safely and are doing great. We'll get confirmation from Mission Control here shortly.
What a beautiful shot of that booster and capsule in the West Texas desert for what looks like a wholly successful fourth human flight. That West Texas does kick up there for our crew, welcoming them back to Earth.
Super excited for their crew, but also for Jim Kitchen, Inspiration 4 competitor. Super excited to see him have had his flight and look forward to hearing what his experience was like. But New Shepard 20 back on the surface. We're going to see the Rivians and the recovery crew approach the capsule here in the next just minute or two, and we will see the crew depart their capsule in the next probably 5 to 10 minutes. So make sure you stay with us here. We're going to listen in as we see the crew arrive. Take a moment, hit the like button if you haven't yet, and subscribe so you never miss another live launch. But Marty Allen, Sharon Hagle, Marc Hagle, Jim Kitchen, Gary Lai, Dr. George Nield, 6 new people that have crossed that Kármán line into the edge of space.
Congratulations, Team Blue. What a day today.
Just a truly incredible moment. Our astronauts have returned home safely.
While we wait for the recovery team to arrive on site, if you guys have questions, tag us at the launch pad. We'll show that in the chat there, just at the launch pad. That'll help us see the questions, and we're going to be answering some of those as we wait for the recovery crew to arrive on site. Atheist, the rocket lands at 5 miles per hour, but the capsule lands at 18. Yup. It's interesting, all right. It's an interesting call out there. Aravel, welcome home. Can't wait to hear the reactions. I agree as well. Discounting the 7 seconds of burning on the pad there, that was a 9-minute and 57-second trip. Thanks for doing that math, Optimus. I actually appreciate having that number. That's good to know. It's not even a 10-minute flight, but it would be still incredible to get to do one day. Bob Snappy, why do they not land with the rocket? So because of the weight of the rocket, they separate the capsule to have a longer period of time in 0G. If they were to stay attached to the booster, they would have only about a minute of 0G, not even. So that is why. Fat Thor, appreciate it. Thanks for being here. That was a much harder landing. So it's hard to see the landing when there's that kind of blast of air on the dust. And probably landed on a couple of twigs, but that blast of air makes it a softer cushion, but it is still a pretty hard, it's a harder landing, but not too bad. Toledo, she just said they became astronauts. Blue Origin considers them astronauts. That is why. James, that's interesting. There's the Rivians speeding down the road towards the capsule there on the right side of your screen. Let's see what you guys think in the poll. What do you think they should be called? 53% say space tourists, 23% space passengers, 15% private astronauts, and 10% citizen explorers. Great to hear there. KJ, is this really, hey, I made it this? Yes, it is, KJ. That is exactly what it would be. Floating, what would happen if their parachutes failed? So they don't need all their chutes to land. They would just have a harder landing. Robert, they're all about the same. I'd have to get back to you on the exact numbers of which was highest yet. But they're all generally right about the same, within, a few kilometers of each. Someone needs some hip replacements? Possibly. They're stuck in the capsule running out of oxygen. No, they're good. They got lots of oxygen. Have a great night, Tazzy. Thanks for being on here. They're waving for help. No, they're waving for excitement. They just got to see our beautiful Earth. They're not astronauts. They're rich. Floating shopping list. Yeah. If you guys have questions, take a moment. Let us know in the chat. Take us at the launch pad, and we'll be answering those. Nonetheless, super excited to see 6 more people having visited the edge of space here today. And New Shepard, again, with another incredibly safe flight and returning of their crew.
Because hopefully we'll be able to again hear from some of our crew members about these amazing experiences. Stay tuned.
Really do hope one day to board that New Shepard. Every time I see it, makes me want to board on right now. So Blue Origin, if you're watching and you want to send a YouTuber, first YouTuber to go up, let's go. Name a date, I will be there. I'll even get my own flight. Well, that's a car trip. When the truck, it's really funny. When the recovery trip on the vehicle is longer than the flight, you know, it's there's their crew member 7. It's a crew of 6, but they call it crew member 7 because that is the 7th person that goes through all their training, make sure the crew has everything they need. She is running around to all 6 windows, getting thumbs up from each one, making sure the crew is safe and sound, and then they will now begin to get those parachutes out of the way and prepare to open that hatch. It looks like the hatch actually landed near a nice clean opening there this time, so they got a little bit of space, don't have to clear too much brush around. You're going to see someone carry over the stairs here momentarily for the crew to come out. Love that, Servin. How about we go together? I would share that honor with Mr. Beast. Absolutely. Dark, do you think one day we'll actually smell metal in space? Do you mean smelt? Like, let me know. Heather, are they profiting off this project or just charging cost? I'm assuming they're making a little bit of money on it, but they do have to pay all of their crew, so I don't think they're making a ton. We do know those first missions sold for tens of millions when they said they originally wanted to have $250,000 tickets. So definitely some of these early passengers are paying in the millions for their flights versus what these flights will be because they want to be the early members. So that's what we're seeing. We're also consistently hearing about people that want to fly again. So it'll be interesting to see who will fly New Shepard for the second time first. Clyde, why can't they get up before? So the recovery team wants to make sure the capsule's stable, didn't land on a rock, things like that. There's an incredible view. There's the booster venting out on the landing site. So you can see how far they go. The booster lands about 3 miles downrange from the launch site. So all within a very small area of land is where this all occurs. And I believe that's actually the launch site in the background there that you can see. So you can see them just making sure everything is secure and safe before the crew departs their capsule. Morning, Heather. Great to see you. Morning, Richie. Good to see you as well. No, they are not. They are Rivians. Justin, how much will it cost to buy one seat on a New Shepard? Their goal is $250,000. That was the last we heard. I do not believe that they are charging that as of yet. Rushing in the champagne, yeah, that they are. You can see them trying to make sure the ground is at least somewhat flat and safe for the crew. The crew looks like they're unstrapping, standing up in the capsule, getting ready for that hatch to open here, and when it does, we'll patch in the audio and hear hopefully some of those first reactions. Robert, it would be interesting to put circles around each of the New Shepard touchdown spots so we can... Ooh, that's a really cool idea, Robert. I actually really do like that. That's a neat idea. Spelled exactly, correct me if you're wrong. If you span them fast, possibly. Possibly. You can see people there excited to see this crew disembark their capsule. Marty Allen, Sharon Hagle, Marc Hagle, Jim Kitchen, Gary Lai, and Dr. George Nield returning from the edge of space. You can see the camera crews there. Zach gets some sleep. No time for sleep. Lots of activities happening. I haven't seen Jeff all day today, so I'm wondering where Jeff is. Maybe he's a little busy. Empty the bottle quick. Someone needs it. Oh my. No worries, Dark. I got what you were meaning. There's all the Rivians and a few other vehicles. And looks like the crew is getting ready to open that hatch. So let's listen in as she opens the hatch. Crew member 7 unlocking the door. And the crew of New Shepard 20, the hatch is opened.
Okay, when you come out, watch your step.
So just giving them a little briefing on watching their step. But crew member 7 off the stairs. And here comes the crew. There's Gary Lai.
Gary Lai.
George Nield, congratulations. We should also have, there's Jim Kitchen.
Jim Kitchen, let's go. Yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you, Marty Allen, for writing the space today.
As we promised, allergies did not hold Marty back today.
And there's Miss Sharon Hagle with the fist bump. Congratulations.
And last but certainly not least, Marc Hagle. Welcome back, Marc.
So 194, Heather, great question. That it has to do, Jim has visited all of the UN countries that are recognized there. So 194 was his next number of what he has visited.
It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. You loved it? Oh, you got, I want you to do it. You're next. I'm coming back. It was very
And that would be correct there. I believe Gary is the first designer of a spacecraft to fly on his own spacecraft this early on, if not completely ever. That's a great call out there. You can see the crew excited to be home. Gary excited to talk to his family, but also their crew and staff.
It was different. I mean, I don't know, because I've never been in the centrifuge, so I mean, I felt my skin pulling taut. And I think more dramatic than even the 0G was the throttle back from 3G. When we throttled down, I felt like I was rising there. And even the entire time I felt I was in 0G, I felt like I was falling towards the ceiling. So it was intense, and I did get a little bit of a feeling of vertigo.
Really?
So,
Okay.
Yeah. And I know most of the astronauts have said in the past that they haven't felt nauseous. I did feel a little bit of nausea for sure. Yeah.
What about the windows?
Oh,
Interesting to hear a real person's experience.
It was a beautiful, clear day. I don't know exactly what we were seeing, but we were seeing.
Mission Control very quickly muting the audio, talking about him feeling nauseous. Any press is good press, except when they're trying to send people to space and tell them they feel good. But I appreciate that he wants to give an honest review of how it feels.
Thank you very much. Thank you for Team Blue. Thank you for this opportunity. I will never forget.
Thank you. Thank you for making this real and making it a possibility for us to be able to send people. It happened.
I was worried there. 45 minutes.
Yeah, I do. I have heard that to their Texas. It is pretty common. But yeah, feeling 6Gs is quite high. 3Gs during launch. Your body's going through stuff. Though this is just a 10-minute flight, it is a substantial weight on the body very quickly. But the crew very excited and happy to be home. Getting some pictures with their capsule there, fresh after landing. There's Jim.
What do you have here?
Yeah, this is, we were joking 193 in space. It was scary on the line.
What is 193?
193 is the countries that I visited. I brought all of my passports with me, representing all of the countries in the world, and this was pushing that final boundary, going to space. And let me tell you, that was an out-of-body experience. I was thinking that on the way up, you're going 2,300 miles an hour, and you feel every bit of that, and then you get time stops. It's like this moment in time where you see this beautiful Earth and the blackness of the universe. It's the blackest black I had ever seen, and I said that, it's like that is an eternal black. It is a dark black, and it is just breathtaking. And wow, I don't know. That was a moment. That was a moment, and you know, connecting with humanity all around the world. Seeing that big, beautiful.
Looks like they may be having a little bit of connection issue with some of their cameras, but I'm sure those are being recorded as well locally, so we'll get some of these videos afterwards. Hopefully hearing more from Jim. But an emotional day for Jim. Visited 193 countries on Earth, and now 194 having visited space. Congratulations, Jim.
Amazing words from their incredible experience. So special to hear from our crew. Also coming up here shortly will be our special astronaut pin ceremony. Stay tuned for more.
Come on. Okay. George, tell us, how was it?
It was awesome.
Was it?
Amazing. You cannot be put into words. As soon as we got above 100,000 feet, you saw the sky getting darker, and when it turned to pitch black, it was just gorgeous. The pictures don't do it justice. So between the black sky and the curvature of the Earth, and then having the freedom of floating around and upside down, just an amazing trip. Just thrill of a lifetime.
That's fantastic. So it was everything that you had hoped for in your entire career fighting for this, right?
Wow. Yeah. Here we are, letting more people go to space, and wow, they're going to like it when they try it.
So you did hear from them. They're going to have their astronaut pin ceremony here happening momentarily. So we're going to stay live through that. If you haven't yet, take a moment, hit that like button. And also don't forget, head on over to our shop. The link is there in the chat and in the description. Use promo code LaunchDay, all one word in caps, and get 10% off of everything. We do have our new Shepard schematic shirt that you can pick up, so you have it in time for the next New Shepard flight. Also a really fun conversation starter having New Shepard on your shirt. There you can see the booster out on the landing pad, just a couple miles away from where the capsule is. They land pretty close, and about 3 miles from where it previously launched. That's awesome, Heather. Appreciate it. Glad that you enjoy that shirt so much. We'll have to get you some more. You can see the crew of Blue Origin there on board, safing the capsule, getting everything ready, and that pin ceremony is getting set up. where they will get their Blue Origin pins. How long until 195 and 196? I'm not sure. There are more that they can go to. Let's listen in.
Just tell me what happened. What was your experience?
I think going up, I was thinking it was going to be 50% weightlessness and 50% the view. When we got up there, it became 5% the weightlessness and 95% the view. The weightlessness was neat, but the view of looking to space, which is as black as your uniform, seeing the Earth, and then you could look down, and you know how the farmers, when you're in a plane, they have the circles? You could see all those, and it was incredible. We just got to get, all of America's got to get caught up to this, and we need a lot of people up here. I'm still stunned for words. The weightlessness was great. We weren't up there long enough to really, really enjoy the weightlessness, where you could eat and play with objects. It's the view. You look out of an airplane at 35,000 feet and realize that we're, 10 times that height up there. It was unbelievable. It's got to be for the astronauts who go into space, where it's all black. That's got to be incredible. I'm just thinking, God, I wish I were in the blackness looking back. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Just unreal.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Your training was off the charts.
Oh.
We got in and it was like, oh, this is just what we've been doing for the last few days.
Good. That's
it was
the intention.
It was unbelievable.
That you can relax
but I
and
did
just
even
enjoy
I
those
wanted
windows.
to do somersaults and all that, and I was just taken back by the view.
Mm-hmm.
It's you can't put it into words. You just have to see it.
Yeah.
You can't put it into words. And coming down, that's where you really felt the G's coming down. When we separated, the capsule almost felt like it was starting to fall right then. That feeling, and then you just realize you're there, and you can't describe it.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. Anyway,
Awesome.
that's it. Cut.
Thanks, Marty.
Thank you.
If you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. You're watching the crew of New Shepard 20 has returned from their 10-minute mission. They are all waiting to get their pins, first reactions being recorded. But you're right there, absolutely spot on, Greg. The overview effect being well documented within the first few minutes of being back down on Earth. Some incredible responses, and look forward to hearing more of those. And hopefully we'll be connecting with some of the crew in the near future. We're working with Blue Origin to try to get some interviews done. So, Blue Origin, looking forward to hearing from you. If you guys have questions, send those in the chat. Let us know. Tag us at the launch pad. We'll be answering those as we await for this astronaut pin ceremony to begin. Once that wraps up, that will conclude our coverage. But we still got a few more minutes until we can see the crew lining up there. So they're getting ready to receive their astronaut wings. Their Blue Origin astronaut wings.
Lots of proud Cornell grads watching, I'm sure. Gary live, proudly waving the flag. I'm sure they're eager to have him come visit campus.
And making Team Blue proud as well. I think I see the astronauts starting to line up for this awaited pin ceremony. What an exciting time. And to hear from the astronauts just like we wanted to, and the reflections, I'm sure, over time will grow more and more beautiful.
Down here, please.
Oh, we can do it, yeah. We can do it. Maybe just keep it. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Good thought.
I'll step back. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yep.
Ready to start.
Yep.
Get him in the pinning.
It's cold out here.
Brisk.
And here to lead us through this very special pin ceremony is our Vice President of New Shepard,
And
Audrey
S20
Powers.
crew. Woo! Congratulations on your flight today. Okay, I have some astronaut pins here. George, you have dedicated an entire career to progressing this industry, and I am so honored to be part of the team that flew you to space and helped you become an astronaut.
Thank you.
On behalf of an entire industry, thank you very much for your work, and congratulations.
Thank you, George!
Here.
Thank you.
Jim, the great explorer, astronaut Marco, right? After a lifetime of exploring, congratulations on crossing your 194th border today.
Thank you.
Thanks. Marty, right one, Marty, also a great adventurer. I hope that the view out the window was even better than you thought.
Fabulous.
It was?
Fabulous.
Good. Congratulations on this most grand adventure.
When are we going again?
That's right. Sharon, you've inspired so many children and you've done so much work to inspire our next generation of space explorers. Thank you very much for all the work you do with our next generation, and congratulations.
You're making cry.
Thank you. You deserve it. You deserve to cry a little bit. And Marc, my fellow Boilermaker.
Yes, indeed.
Yes,
Purdue.
indeed. Congratulations
Number
on your
29
flight today.
from Purdue.
That's right. I'm so glad that you were able to share this with Sharon.
Thank you.
There you are. And Gary, my friend Gary.
Wow.
You make Blue proud every single day, every single one of us. You are our colleague, you are our mentor, you are our friend. And without you, none of this is possible. On behalf of a deeply, deeply grateful Team Blue, congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that was amazing, Eddie. I think it's safe to say all of us across Team Blue might be a little teary-eyed right now. Not speaking for you, speaking for myself, though.
Astronaut Audrey Powers, is there anything that woman can't do?
Thank you all. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today for Blue Origin's 4th human flight. A huge and very special thank you to our customers, George Nield, Sharon and Marc Hagle, Jim Kitchen, and Marty Allen. Well, customers and now astronauts. If you're interested in purchasing your seat on a future rocket ride to space and back, it starts by visiting blueorigin.com and clicking Fly to Space. Eddie, thank you so much.
And they're wrapping it up, but that is it. New Shepard 20 complete. 6 new Blue Origin New Shepard astronauts having received their pins successfully back down on the surface. And that is going to do it for us here today. If you haven't yet, take a moment, hit that subscribe button here at the Launchpad. It's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together, and we bring you full launch coverage of all the companies, as well as space news updates, exclusive interviews, and more. Thank you to all of those that have been with us throughout today's broadcast, and that is going to do it from us here at the Launchpad Studios. If you haven't yet, head on over to the shop, check it out, Launchpad. Promo code gets you 10% off of everything, and head on over to Discord. We're hanging out in the live comms talking about today's launch and just space in general, and it's free to do so. And consider hitting that join button. It's a great free way to help support what we do. But that's going to do it from us here in the Launchpad Network Studios. This is Zach signing off. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.